Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Tuesday video report. Well, I wrapped up a third straight winning week last night with another 15 dime play, which matches my normal top rated selection in any sport, as Oakland got the job done against Cleveland State. And you know, it's the interesting thing about handicapping. What did I know about Oakland and Cleveland State prior to yesterday? Absolutely nothing. I mean, listen, I had even forgotten that Oakland's nickname was the Golden Grizzlies. But you know, the difference between guys that bet on a daily basis and guys that do what I do on a daily basis is the amount of time you're willing to put into the research. Now, it's very easy for me on a Saturday college basketball card to narrow down a 80 game slate to the top 7 or 8 games in less than 45 minutes. That's the easy part. It's doing the research for all the teams that I then think about betting on. That's the long part. But it paid off again yesterday. And it doesn't always pay off. Listen, I'm not telling you if you spend hours researching different games, you're going to find winners all the time. But more often than not, when you get a really good feel for a game, it's because you've read what the beat writers, what the columnists who cover the teams every single day are saying about a particular team. And then you also have to factor in other decision things. Like, for example, is a team coming off a tough win or a tough loss? Is this a sandwich game? Do they have a big look-ahead game with a rival coming up? These are all the things that you have to factor. For me, last night, it was the fact that Oakland had played so well in previous Horizon League games at home, hammered on the road, but played well at home. And it certainly paid off in dividends last night as Oakland opened up an 11-point lead early in the second half. And they were a 2.5-point underdog in that one and came back and got the job done. Now, because I've won 3 straight weeks, because I've won 9 of the past 12 days, because I've won 5 of my last 6, 5 of my last 6 top-rated college basketball releases, that puts me in the position today to raise the bar. And I've told you many, many times, the way you make little bankrolls grow up and go to college someday is that you've got to take shots when you see them. And there is a game tonight, Tennessee and Arkansas in the SEC. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it the second ever 20 dime release of my career on this game here tonight. And remember, 99.9% of my plays are already between 5 and 15 dimes. So, to put it in perspective, this is bigger than my 15 dimers on Oakland over Cleveland State last night, Villanova hammering Creighton on Sunday, Oregon taking care of business by 18 over UCLA on Saturday. This is bigger than my 15 dime play on Ohio State outright over Oregon in that little national title game. And it's my second ever 20 dime release. It was just 8 days ago. Last Monday, I hit the first when I gave you Texas, a 3-point road favorite, and they won by 18 at TCU. That was the half-price play of the day, and the same thing goes today. Half-price play of the day. I'm putting myself on the hot seat, and you can get it for half price simply by using the coupon code 20 dimes, 20 dimes, 20 DIMES. All your other promos, etc., can be found over on the homepage. Let's get to some free selections. Oh my God, yesterday with the free picks. Listen, I told you to take a shot going against Valpo and ride Wisconsin-Milwaukee because I was a little concerned about Valpo's injury concerns. Well, Valpo didn't have any injury problems because they just hammered Wisconsin-Milwaukee. But the other play I gave you yesterday's free selection, which won, was New Orleans crushing Philadelphia. And one of the problems with doing sites like this is I have no way of contacting you late in the day to tell you, hey, that little voice is screaming, bet me, bet me, bet me in my ear. Because there was a gift from God last night. I gave it to you as a free play on New Orleans. I thought they'd take care of business against a bad Philadelphia team. And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was announced Michael Carter-Williams, who is their starting point guard and really is their only scorer, even though he has to launch like 27 shots a game to do so. He was going to miss the game because of a respiratory infection. Oh, if there was any way I could have called you guys and said, please, go ahead, bet New Orleans for all you're worth, especially since, as I laid out yesterday, New Orleans was in a big-time revenge game after they were embarrassed at Philadelphia back about 2.5 weeks ago. And since then, all the Sixers have done is lose 5 straight games. And while New Orleans took care of business, they got off to a slow start, granted. You wouldn't have liked me probably until, closer to halftime in that game. But then they exploded in the 33-19 third quarter, and they rolled in that contest 99-74. And it was only a 15.5-point line. So, I mean, that was the gift from God. Now, tonight in the NBA, how can you not ride the Golden State Warriors? I mean, they're a 9.5 point favorite at home against Chicago. They're 21-1 at the Oracle this season. They've won 19 consecutive home games by an average of 18.1 points. They're 14-0 straight up against Eastern Conference teams. Since losing back-to-back games in LA to the Clippers and the Lakers, straddling Christmas, they have gone 13-1, and they've scored at least 110 points in all but one of those games. And the one they didn't, they scored 104. Look, their last 6 games, they've put 114, 126, 126, 122, 131, 115 points on the board. And here come the Bulls, coming off another head-scratching loss to the Miami Heat on Sunday, 96-84. Now, have the Bulls played well on the road this season? Absolutely. But the fact is, they've lost 7 of their last 11 games. And this game is going to come down to the battle of the backcourts. You got Klay Thompson, Mr. 37 points in a single quarter a couple of nights ago, and Steph Curry going up against Jimmy Butler, who's in a shooting slump, hitting only 38% in his last 10 games, and Derrick Rose. I'm going to go with the Warriors. And until Golden State proves that they can't cover at home, why not ride them? So I like Golden State in that particular contest. Here's another one for you. Let me just look here. College basketball. The last time I won a game involving Kansas State was, probably 1997. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Kansas State. I'm not a big fan of Bruce Weber. But it's hard for me not to be lured in by that cheap price with K-State minus the 1.5 to 2 points at home tonight against West Virginia. A West Virginia team that was lucky to survive 86-85 at home in overtime against TCU. A West Virginia team that is shooting just 41.7% on the season. That's 9th in the Big 12. There's only 10 teams in the Big 12. You get my drift here? They're also a lousy free throw shooting team at 66.6%. And when you have poor shooting teams from the charity stripe, when they're on the road, that's a reason to go against them. When they're at home and they're laying a big number, that's a reason to stay away from them. Because if you can't convert on the freebies, you have a problem covering games. Now, meanwhile, this is a team that West Virginia, their last road game, remember, they hit only 24% of their shots, and they got hammered in Austin against Texas, losing 77-50. Meanwhile, the Wildcats have won 5 of their last 6 after a 63-53 home win against Oklahoma State on Saturday. Their only loss in that stretch was by 6 at Iowa State. Certainly nothing to be ashamed of. They're 20-2 straight up in Big 12 play at home since Bruce Weber arrived. They've won 42 of their last 47 in Manhattan. I think they can handle the full court pressure that West Virginia is going to bring because, the Mountaineers do lead the nation in forced turnovers, over 21 a game, and I like them in this spot. Your final free play, I'm going to go with Georgetown, minus the 5 at home tonight in revenge against Xavier. Georgetown, first time they were ranked this season, it was going into a New Year's Eve clash with Xavier, and the Musketeers just blew them out at home 70-53. Well, since then, Georgetown has played very well. They've won 5 of their last 6. They only lost an overtime game against Providence. They're back in the rankings again this week, and now they got Xavier coming in for revenge. This Georgetown team has proven to be pretty good offensively this year, and a very deep and talented team. The only reason I relegated this play to a free selection is that 2 of their starters, forward L.J. Peak, and a guard with the last name of Trauwick, I think, and Jabril is his first name. I'm thinking that's how you pronounce it. They're 3rd and 4th leading scorers. They combined for about 17 points a game. They are both questionable for this contest after both got hurt in the first half of Saturday's eventual overtime win against Marquette. So that really concerns me. But Georgetown, they have the 4th toughest schedule so far played in Division I ball this season. They're number 13 in terms of RPI. They're a very good free throw shooting team, 71.3%, and they get the ball down low, and they've attempted 464 shots from the charity stripe. That's more than anybody else than one team in the Big East. They're 10-1 straight up at home at the Verizon Center. The only loss coming to Kansas. So I'm going to lay the points with Georgetown against Xavier. The Musketeers, they've lost 5 in a row on the road. They're 0-4 on the Big East road, losing by 3 at Providence, 13 at Villanova, 12 at Butler, and 3 at DePaul. And, of course, they were favored against DePaul. So this is no surprise. Last year, they were 3-6 on the Big East road. This year, they're 0-4 already, 4-0 at home, 0-4 on the road. What does that tell you? I think it's a cheap price. Go with Georgetown in revenge here for this contest. And that'll do it, guys, for today's video report. Wish you well, and I'll catch you again on Wednesday when we do this one more time.